Will there ever be a Jack Ryan and Reacher crossover on Prime Video? On Amazon Prime Video, two of the most popular action series are Jack Ryan and Reacher, and though they are two separate franchises, the shows could make for a really interesting crossover. First released in 2018, Jack Ryan is a political action series which follows John Krasinski as the titular Jack Ryan, a CIA analyst who enters the field to investigate a number of strange bank transfers. 4 years later, Reacher premiered and sees Alan Ritchson as Jack Reacher, a former U.S. military police major who solves crimes around the United States. There are a multitude of ways in which Jack Ryan and Reacher are similar. Both focus on men who work or have worked for the U.S. government in positions of security or defense. Though Jack Ryan has more of a political leaning than Reacher, the two series are interested in big action scenes and overarching mysteries. Even the main characters share the same first name. Because Jack Ryan and Reacher are so similar, it would make sense for the shows to overlap, although their origins may make this quite difficult. One major obstacle that stands in the way of a Jack Ryan and Reacher crossover is the fact that the shows originate from two entirely separate franchises. Jack Ryan began as a book series written by Tom Clancy. There are approximately 36 books dedicated to Ryan and his world of political conspiracies. Meanwhile, Reacher also started as an action book series written by Lee Child. Reacher has about 29 books currently published. In this way, Ryan and Reacher do not already exist in the same universe, which makes a crossover unorthodox. On top of that, Prime Video's Jack Ryan and Reacher are not the first adaptations of Clancy's and Child's books. Before 2018's Jack Ryan, the CIA agent was played by Alec Baldwin, Harrison Ford, Ben Affleck, and Chris Pine as early as 1990. In a similar vein, Jack Reacher was portrayed on screen by Tom Cruise in two separate films released in 2012 and 2016. Because of these previous adaptations, it is even harder for these two action heroes to intermingle, as they are just new iterations of long-running characters who have never previously interacted. Finally, there's the problem of the showrunners. Although Jack Ryan and Reacher are both produced by and streamed on Prime Video, that does not necessarily make it easy for the shows to converge. Both shows are run by completely separate teams, and creating a crossover would mean that these showrunners would have to compromise both of their visions to create something new. This could be detrimental to Reacher, which is still airing, and could mess with Jack Ryan's ending. If someone new came in to direct the crossover, that could be equally disastrous. There are a number of reasons why a Jack Ryan and Reacher crossover would not and should not happen, yet a crossover would be incredibly fun. Logistics aside, bringing together Ryan and Reacher would give Prime Video an opportunity to capitalize on two of its most popular franchises. Furthermore, it would be super exciting to see how the heroes connect or disconnect. Perhaps the two wouldn't get along and would have to overcome differences. Perhaps they would make an amazing team. Either way, this is something audiences would be eager to see, even if it was difficult to make happen. The success of Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan and Lee Child's Reacher has cemented both franchises as staples in the world of espionage and action thrillers. Prime Video, home to both series, has cultivated large fan bases for each of these iconic characters. Naturally, the question arises, will there ever be a crossover between Jack Ryan and Reacher on Prime Video? A Jack Ryan-Reacher crossover has the potential to be a monumental event in streaming television, blending two beloved action hero characters. But while the idea is tantalizing, it also faces significant challenges. Why a crossover makes sense: shared genre and themes. Both Jack Ryan and Reacher operate in the same broad genre, focusing on military and espionage-driven narratives. Jack Ryan, a CIA analyst who's frequently thrust into dangerous fieldwork, often navigates the world of geopolitics, high-stakes espionage, and counterterrorism. Reacher, on the other hand, is a former military policeman turned drifter who uncovers corrupt systems and dispenses justice in his own way. While their methods may differ, their goals often align: the pursuit of truth, justice, and the protection of the innocent. Fans of one franchise often appreciate the other, as both shows offer high adrenaline action sequences, gripping storylines, and a singular protagonist facing down overwhelming odds. In many ways, these two characters exist within adjacent worlds, which could be bridged for an exciting collaboration. The narrative opportunities that a crossover would offer are vast. Ryan's more cerebral, tactical approach could complement Reacher's physical, no-nonsense style, creating an effective yet entertaining dynamic. Crossovers in pop culture. In the current television and film landscape, crossovers are increasingly common and popular. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has perfected the art of weaving multiple characters and storylines together, giving audiences a deeper and more interconnected viewing experience. Similarly, shows like Arrow, The Flash, and Supergirl on the CW built a multi-show crossover universe that fans couldn't get enough of. Given the shared themes and action-oriented nature of the Jack Ryan and Reacher worlds, a crossover could easily find a place within Prime Video's portfolio. Audience demand and streaming competition. Streaming platforms are locked in a fierce battle for subscribers, with content offerings being the key differentiator. A crossover between two of Prime Video's most successful shows would undoubtedly attract attention, both from existing fans and new viewers. The novelty of seeing Jack Ryan and Reacher together would create massive buzz, driving subscriptions and viewership numbers. It also helps that both shows are in the action-thriller category, appealing to a wide audience demographic that craves high-stakes, well-choreographed fight sequences and intricate plot twists. Bringing these two powerhouses together would generate enormous social media engagement as fans speculate on the plot and dynamic of the crossover, while also bringing together two separate fandoms into one united group. Challenges to a crossover. Tonal differences. While both shows fall under the action-thriller umbrella, their tones differ significantly. Jack Ryan tends to focus on larger geopolitical conflicts, with a more cerebral, mission-based approach that often reflects real-world political issues. Reacher, on the other hand, has a more stripped-down, boots-on-the-ground tone, with a protagonist who takes a more personal and often brutal approach to justice. Merging these tones could be difficult, and finding the right balance between the grounded realism of Jack Ryan and the visceral, raw action of Reacher might prove to be a creative challenge. Character dynamics. The crossover dynamic between Jack Ryan and Reacher would also require careful handling. Jack Ryan is more of a traditional hero, reluctant but duty-bound, using his intellect and moral compass to guide his actions. Reacher, however, operates more in the gray areas, often using violence as a first resort and relying on his physicality to overpower adversaries. This dichotomy could lead to interesting interactions, but could also risk undermining one character's core traits. How these two characters would work together, and more importantly, how they would interact with each other, would need careful planning to maintain both characters' integrity. Scheduling and production challenges. While the creative and narrative aspects of a crossover are enticing, the logistics may pose significant hurdles. Both Jack Ryan and Reacher have different production schedules, cast availability, and showrunners. Coordinating a crossover would require significant collaboration between the production teams of both shows, something that can be difficult to pull off, especially when juggling the availability of key actors like John Krasinski, Jack Ryan, and Alan Ritchson, Reacher. How could a crossover happen? The most plausible way a crossover could happen is through a special event rather than as a full season. This might take the form of a limited miniseries or even a feature-length movie, where Ryan and Reacher are brought together for a specific mission. Given the different tones of the two series,